I guess the question really is life by design. Why? Why must we live life by design? What is design, anyways? Okay, so I googled it. I was checking what is design, and this is what Google said. Design is a process of planning and creating something with a specific purpose in mind. It could be an object, a system, or experience. So it's a process of planning and creating something with a specific purpose in mind. It could be an object, system, or an experience. And that's what design is. And I was having a conversation with my sister this other time, and she was going on about why must we design? Why is it so hard? As in, why don't things just happen? Why must I think about the life that I wanted? Why must I put intention behind it? Why must I work so hard towards making my life work in a certain way? Why? What's with all of that? So I thought, and I was saying to her, but God is a designer and we're made in his image, right? So that makes us designers. And why are we against the very nature of who we are as children of God, made in God's image? I'm going to read the Bible here in Genesis chapter 1. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There's a star there. Let's see what that star is about. It says, oh, or in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, or when God began to create the heavens and the earth. So it continues then on the second one. It says, the earth was formless and empty and became, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And that is where, when I listen to a lot of people talk about that, they're saying that the intention of what God created, we know that it was good. So he did not create the formlessness, the emptiness, or the darkness that covered the deep of the waters. So it's as if God created beautiful things for beautiful earth and the heavens, but something happened. There was a disruption that took place that caused the earth to become formless and empty. And I like what Myron Coleman says about that particular. He says, intention. What does he say? He says, disruption follows intention. So he says, every time you intend to do something and you start doing it, disruption will follow. I think that has freed me because sometimes you'll be working hard trying to do something and you're like, what on earth is going on? What's with this chaos and this mess? Like, all I wanted was this to be like this, but somehow chaos follows, um, let's call it disruption follows intention. So, and he's saying that even with God, God did not plan for the earth to become empty, formless, and void, because we know that everything that God planned, He always has good plans, right? So, He had a good intention when He started forming or creating the earth, but something happened. I've listened to other preachers talk about the disruption being, I'm not too clued up on this, but I've heard them talk about the disruption that's at the devil disruption that happened that caused the earth to become formless and void. They said the fight in heaven that ended up with the devil coming on earth is what caused that earth to become. So it was a disruption because of the devil. That's what they say, though. I'm not quite sure, but I like the idea of understanding that every time you have an intention to do something and you try and do it, there's going to be disruption. And when you are aware of this, then you realize that even with God, it happened with him when he was trying to create earth, disruption happened. Then you can be at peace about it. You can get peace that, oh, okay, so this is the disruption that's following. But as we can see that God did not stop with just the formless, and we see what happens after. It says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. So yes, he had an intention, he created something, and disruption took place. So his spirit then was just going over the surface. Other version says brooding, contemplating, so thinking and then it says, then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that it was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. The evening passed, morning came, marking the first day. Okay, so seeing all of that disruption, we see that God was inspired to speak a solution into the problem, right? And the solution did take place. And then there was dark, there was light and darkness, day and night. There was a first day. Then it continues, it says, then God said, let there be space between waters to separate the water from the heavens and from the waters of the earth. And that it was happened. And that is what happened. Okay, God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. And God called the space sky. And the evening passed, and the morning came, marking the second day. So we see again, God continues to act. He says, "Let there be space between, the heaven and the earth, to separate the water and call the space, sky, atmosphere." And it happened, right? Then it was second day. We reached day three. Then God said, let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place so dry ground may appear. And that is what happened. God called the dry ground land and the waters seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed bearing plant trees that grow seed bearing fruit. The seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and the trees from which they came. And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed bearing plants and trees with seeds bearing fruit, and their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed, morning came, marking the third day. Okay, so I can read further and further, but we see that after the original plan, disruption did take place. And we see that day by day, God starts working on a process of putting order back, right? So it starts with one thing, the next thing, and the next thing. So we see God in the process of designing, right, the earth, and then step by step, He's fixing all the problems and seeing what He would like to do, what He would like, what He would like for what he would like to appear, I guess, to see. And then he speaks it and he sees it and he says, this is good. And then he continues and continues. And we see that eventually he says, let's go to 24, verse 24. He says, then God said, no, that's no, 26. Then God said, let us make human beings in our own image to be like us. They will reign over the fish of the sea, of the birds of the sky, the livestock, in the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry all along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. So I come to this part where then God eventually creates human beings in his image, um, so that we are like him in his likeness, so that we have the same capabilities as him, so that we are creators just like him, we are designers. And so then the question is, when people ask themselves, okay, why is my life not working out right? And it's like, have you designed your life? Because you're a designer, you're a creator, you're made in the image of God, the likeness of God, same capabilities of God, and therefore you have to design your life. People shy away from this activity, and I don't know why is it that people don't want to do this. They want to. Most people I've observed, they want to sit and look at someone else's life and then complain that their life is not turning out good, but look at someone's life, things are going out, they're working out well for them. And then when you ask them, but what it is that you want, they just then don't want to be like, they don't want to take responsibility for being the creator or designers of their own life, but will always want to look at somebody else doing something. And I feel that's not how God wanted us, and that's what creates envy in life, because now you want what someone else has, as if you don't have the God powers within you yourself to create whatever it is that you need to create for your life. I'm saying too many things. So basically, what I'm trying to say is you have to design your life. You have the capabilities, you are made in God's image, and you need to use those capabilities and design the perfect life that you have. I mean, if God created the heaven and the earth, meaning there is the standard of design for heaven, standard of design for the earth, and we can see earth is the physical materialization. We can see what the earth looks like. We can see the creation that God made. So if you have the same powers, the same capabilities, why aren't you creating your heaven and your earth in your life? Because that's what you're called to do. I wanted to say that designing is also hard work. It's work to design, to create heaven and earth. That God, the work that God did, He had to rest on the seventh day. Let's see, where is it? Then God looked over all He had made and saw that it was very good. That is verse 31. And evening passed and morning came, marking the sixth day. So the creations of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. And on the seventh day, God had finished His work of creation, so He rested from all His work. Then God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when He rested from all His work of creation. Why do I highlight the point of resting? Is that, so my sister was saying, "Oh, why is it so hard that I have to do this? Then I have to, speak things into existence, have faith, and declare things that I want, and then things are not what I want. But and then why must I work so hard to bring order into my life?" And I'm like, do you think it was easy for God to create the heavens and the earth? And she's like, well, in the Bible, it just looks like He just created. It just said, let there be life. Poof, there was life. Let the earth produce plants. Let me make human beings in our own image, and it all came. So I'm like, if it all was so simple for God, why did He need to rest? Because the resting part shows that it was hard work for God to do. And hence we also must realize, also when we also design and create our lives and do certain things, it's hard work, and we have to rest as well. And that's why, just because we're made in God's image, rest is very important. And the next thing is that God created human beings on the sixth day, so He expected us to rest first before work. it, Rest is important. That's what I'm trying to highlight there. So when you design your life, disruption will follow. It must not move you. You must still continue to do your work of putting order in terms of what you want, planning and creating. And rest is also important. You must understand that you must rest, but it's your responsibility to create heaven in your life, to create earth in your life, to create your dream life that you want as per the inspiration that God gives you, because you are a God being. You are made in the image of God, in the likeness of God. You have the capabilities of God. And so, whatever it is that God inspires you, because desire is power, seeking to materialize, seeking to manifest, seeking to experience. It's God within you, seeking to explore certain faculties upon your life. And therefore, you should not limit the desire that is God given, that is good, that seeks expression. But you have to design your life. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it. I think I've said a lot. I hope this video inspired you. Share this one with someone who needs inspiration, that they need to design their life. That you're not supposed to sit on your laurels and expect God, why is my life not working out this way? God is like, hey, I've given you all capabilities. Why are you not making your life work well? So don't sit down. Start using your capabilities. Design your life and understand that it's work. It's work. Oh, I wanted to mention this, that it's work. God did it in 6 days in the Bible, and that was in the spiritual plane. If you read further, you can see that it took time for all of those things. in terms of our physical time, not godly time, to materialize. In fact, your geologists and is it geologists or scientists will tell you that the formation of the earth, the cooling process and the whatnot processes that had to take place for the earth to be formed took billions of years. So it was not one day as per, but the Bible writes it in its spiritual sense that it was one day then this. So man, human being coming to dwell upon the earth, that took a long time before the earth had to cool down properly and you had to have oxygen and whatever in the water and whatever that is the scientists explain. So I'm just saying that even though it took God 6 days to create and saw that it was good, the materialization process took in our physical time a very long time. So meaning also when you are busy doing your work of designing your life, it can take you one day to just visualize, I just want to live in that house, but the materialization of building the house can take a couple of months, maybe even to get the money to build the house, even more months. I'm just making that as an example that so you must not then lose hope in terms of you cannot create or design that life or it takes a while because from the designing or creating process all the way to the materialization, there is a time delay, time. It takes time. But in the time, you must still maintain your vision and your hope and your faith. Maintain faith so that eventually it does materialize because God did not stop resting on the seventh day and say, but the earth is still not like that because he had visualized it, he had seen it, he had spoken it into being, and he saw that it was good. And he knew now it was just a matter of physical time, I guess, for us to catch up with all of that he had done. I'll end it there. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and share the video with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.